in the quiet, rolling landscape of Southampton County, Virginia. During the summer of 1831, a storm was brewing. It was here that a man named Nat Turner would lead one of the most significant and haunting uprisings in American history. His rebellion didn't just shake the foundations of the South, it sent tremors across the entire nation, terrifying slaveholders and intensifying the already volatile debate over slavery. True, this is the story of Nat Turner, preacher, visionary, and the leader of a revolt that irrevocably altered the course of America. Nat Turner was born into the brutal system of slavery in the year 1800. From his earliest days, it was clear he was different. He possessed a keen intelligence, an insatiable curiosity, and a deeply reflective nature that set him apart. In a time and place where literacy for the enslaved was a forbidden act, a dangerous pursuit, Nat learned to read. He devoured the Bible, its stories and prophecies fueling a profound and fervent faith. Those around him, both black and white, saw something special in the young boy, whispering that he was destined for a purpose far greater than the life prescribed for him. As he would later state, he felt he was intended for some great purpose, a conviction that would guide his every action. This sense of destiny was magnified by what Turner believed were direct communications from God. 2. He began experiencing powerful visions, interpreting natural phenomena as divine signs. A solar eclipse was not just a celestial event, it was a signal from the heavens. The discolored, hazy atmosphere was a message. He saw drops of blood on corn stalks and hieroglyphic characters on leaves, all of which he meticulously connected to passages from the Bible. These signs, he believed, were God's way of telling him that the time for judgment was at hand. Stills, he was the chosen instrument to lead his people out of bondage, to break the chains of oppression through a righteous and violent struggle. The heavens were aligning, and for Nat Turner, the path forward was becoming terrifyingly clear. He was to be a prophet of liberation, and the time for action was drawing near. On the moonless night of August 21, 1831, the whispers of prophecy erupted into a roar of rebellion. True, deep in the woods of Southampton County, Nat Turner gathered a small, determined group of fellow enslaved men. They were armed with little more than axes, hatchets, and a burning resolve. This was not a random act of violence. It was a calculated, desperate strike for freedom. Under the cover of darkness, they moved with grim purpose from one plantation to the next. Their mission was twofold: to liberate the enslaved people they encountered, and to dismantle the system of terror that held them captive, which meant confronting the slaveholding families directly. This was the moment Turner had been waiting for, the culmination of all his visions. As he told his followers, the time had come. They would rise that night. The rebellion spread with the speed of a wildfire. For about 48 hours, Turner and his growing band of followers, which swelled to more than 70 men, created a state of absolute panic among the white population of Southampton County. The ringing of alarm bells echoed through the countryside as terrified families fled their homes. But the response was just as swift and far more brutal. White militias, armed and organized, mobilized with ruthless efficiency to crush the uprising. The rebellion, which had begun with such fierce hope, was violently suppressed. In the immediate aftermath, the scale of the violence became horrifyingly clear. The rebels had killed approximately 55 white men, women, and children. But the reprisal was a wave of indiscriminate and savage vengeance. Enraged white mobs and militias swept through the county, unleashing a torrent of violence against the black community. They killed an estimated 100 to 200 African Americans, many of whom had absolutely no connection to the revolt. For them, guilt or innocence was irrelevant. The rebellion had exposed the deepest fears of the slaveholding South. And the reaction was a brutal reassertion of power, meant to terrorize and ensure that such an act of defiance would never happen again. While the rebellion was crushed, its leader remained at large. For nearly 2 months, Nat Turner masterfully evaded a massive manhunt. He hid in the swamps and forests of Southampton, a ghost in his own land, while the state lived in fear and paranoia. Finally, on October 30th, he was discovered hiding in a cave, exhausted and starving, but unbroken. He was taken to the county jail, where he was interviewed by a white lawyer named Thomas Ruffin Gray. Gray expected to find a monster, a crazed fanatic. Instead, he found a man of unnerving calm and unshakable conviction. Spoke freely about his life, his divine visions, and the motivations behind his actions. He recounted the rebellion not as a series of crimes, but as a righteous war commanded by God. He showed no remorse, believing himself to be an instrument of divine will. When questioned about the morality of his actions, he famously retorted, "Was not Christ crucified?" His confessions, published by Gray, became a national sensation, offering a chilling and direct look into the mind of a man who chose violent rebellion over a life in chains. On November 11, 1831, Nat Turner was tried, convicted, and executed. He was hanged in Jerusalem, the county seat of Southampton. But his death did not end his story, it immortalized it. The shockwaves from his rebellion radiated across the entire country. In the South, fear and paranoia led to the enactment of even harsher and more oppressive laws. States passed new legislation that severely restricted the education, movement, and assembly of all black people, both enslaved and free. The goal was to suffocate any embers of resistance before they could ever ignite again. Conversely, in the North, the rebellion had a galvanizing effect on the abolitionist movement. Figures like William Lloyd Garrison pointed to Turner's revolt as undeniable proof that the institution of slavery was a moral abomination, a powder keg that was destined to explode. It was, they argued, an inherently violent system that would inevitably breed a violent response. Turner's rebellion became a powerful symbol for some, a symbol of terror, but, for many others, a symbol of the desperate and unyielding human desire for freedom. Nat Turner's rebellion remains one of the most studied, debated, and controversial acts of resistance in American history. He is a complex and challenging figure. Was he a prophet, guided by divine will, a revolutionary leader fighting for liberation, or a fanatic who unleashed unspeakable violence? Perhaps he was all of these things. His story forces us to confront the deepest, most uncomfortable truths about our nation's past. The sheer brutality of slavery and the extraordinary lengths to which human beings will go when pushed to their absolute limits in the pursuit of freedom. History isn't always comfortable. It's often filled with difficult questions and challenging narratives that defy simple answers. But understanding these stories, especially the story of Nat Turner, is essential. It helps us understand not just the world we have inherited, but the complexities of the human spirit itself. Thanks for watching. If you found this story compelling, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more journeys into the pages of history.